5 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Sean Callan.
Here.
Julie Chetney.
Here.
Tom Chapa, yes. Sean Onmacht.
Here.
Tim Rice. Jennifer Salazzo.
Here.
And Leah Norton.
Here.
Excellent, thank you. If you'd join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we'd like to open the floor to the public, and we have one speaker. Kevin, if you give me just 1 second, I get to read through this lovely presentation for you. The Oswego City School District's Board of Education welcomes public comment at this portion of the meeting using the following guidelines. Each speaker who signed up is permitted 3 minutes for their comments. Speakers may not yield remaining time to others. All comments must be directed to the board president. The board will listen to comments and input, but will not necessarily debate or discuss items. Operational matters will be directed to school administration for handling. The board is not permitted to address personnel or individual student matters in open session. The board will limit repetitive comments to give time to others wishing to speak, as well as to maintain meeting efficiency. The board president has the authority to end a speaker's comments or close public comment as appropriate. Any additional written correspondence or letters may be directed to the board clerk for distribution to the board. The board expects proper decorum at all times, and all speakers should state their full name and address. Kevin. Yes, please.
I think I know most of you, but my name is Kevin Hill, 136 West Bridge Street in the city of Oswego. I do have a handout. Did you just hand that out, or? Too short, I'm sorry. This is fine. So I'm here today as assessor for the city of Oswego, seeking the board's consideration for adopting a resolution recognizing veterans exemptions in the calculation of school tax liability for district taxpayers. Currently, the veterans exemptions are recognized by the county of Oswego, the cities of Oswego and Fulton, and all towns and villages in the county, but none of our school districts recognize the exemption. I recently sent a mailer to approximately 3,500 owner-occupied homes in the city, providing assessment updates outlining most common exemptions and providing property owners the opportunity to reach out to me, have some contact with me. And the overwhelming response was from veterans who didn't know that there was a benefit available. So while explaining the benefits to those veterans, the most common question I got was, why doesn't the Oswego City School District recognize my service? The county does, the city does, why not the district? So I'm here today to provide you some rough estimates of what it might cost the district if we were to offer this exemption, and to see if we could perhaps get a meeting on the calendar, sit down with the finance office and work out some concrete numbers. So I provided you with a Q&A from the Department of Tax and Finance. It outlines the various types of exemptions that are available. And then I've also provided some numbers from the state's real property system. And this is specific to the city of Oswego, but I imagine the breakdown or ratio of veterans to non-veterans across the county is similar. So I use the city as the basis for my calculation. So the city currently has a total taxable assessed value for school purposes of $1.3 billion, and we have approximately $15.7 million in veterans exemptions. It amounts to about 1.2% of all property values. There are several different options that the state allows schools or municipalities to opt into. The benefit that the city and the county has is more generous than the minimum. So I ran a few scenarios to show that if we were to adopt the veterans exemption at the same level as the city and the county, it would cost the school district approximately 14 cents on the current tax rate. If you lower that to the base exemption amount, which is the standard, that lowers it to about 11 cents per thousand. And then if you reduce it to the minimum, it's about 7 cents per thousand on the tax rate. So there are estimates how those were derived, and I would really appreciate the board's consideration. I'd love to set up a meeting, with the finance office, with the board, kind of work through these numbers, see how accurate they are, how close we are, because I think that we have an obligation to our veterans, and it's a very small price to pay for their sacrifice. And I'd love to see the school district be the first trailblazing, and I'm certain that others will follow as you adopt this. So that's it.
Yeah. Thank
All
you,
right.
Kevin.
You're welcome. Thank you for the time.
At this time, we'd like to move along to acknowledgements presented by Julie Chetney.
Okay, we're starting over at Riley School. At Riley, we show our Riley Rises spirit every day by embodying the true essence of friendship and kindness. Whether it's lending a helping hand, including others at recess, or offering encouraging words, in the classroom, our students are working on ways to demonstrate what it means to be respectful, inclusive, and supportive. What an incredible time we had at the Buck Parade. Our Riley community showed up with immense spirit, proudly representing our Riley Rises mantra in full color and energy. From the creative float to enthusiastic participation of our students and families, the outpouring of support was truly heartwarming. Also at Charles E. Riley, our music students are hard at work learning and preparing for their upcoming concerts. At the elementary level, students build the foundation for musical success by learning rhythm, melody, teamwork, and the joy of performing together. These experiences help develop confidence, focus, and creativity that extend far beyond the stage. A huge shout out to Ms. Tao, Mrs. Evans, and Mrs. Jorgensen for their tireless dedication, energy, and passion for helping our young musicians shine. Over at Fitzhugh Park on Thursday, October 16th, Fitzhugh held its annual FPS Fall Fest. This also combined with our first Scholastic Book Fair of the year. Our students enjoyed a variety of fun fall-themed activities. We would like to thank our students' families who came out also to support the staff and volunteers, and our HSA volunteers for their help in making this a great evening. At Kingsford Park, they had a busy couple weeks. Twin Day kicked off their School Spirit Week. Students showed off their school spirit by dressing as twins with their friends, matching outfits, big smiles, and double the fun. The Booster Buck Parade, the KPS float was on deck. The students proudly marched in the annual Booster Club Buck Spirit Parade on the KPS float themed "Our Children Are Our Future," spreading joy, creativity, and community pride. Over at KPS also, they had Walk to School Day. Families and students celebrated Walk to School Day by enjoying a healthy, active start to the day while building community connections. And also, One Book, One School was kicked off with the Wild Robot in the first grade. First graders dove into the Wild Robot as part of their One Book, One School program, fostering a love of reading and shared storytelling across classrooms. In Minetto, our Read to Them program is in full swing. Our students are truly enjoying the story of Roz and the Bright Bill from the Wild Robot. We're excited to celebrate our art contest winners who creative entries captured the spirit of the story. Lila, Malin, Scarlett, Peyton, Michael, Harlan, Michaela, and Maxwell are pictured here. Their artwork beautifully showcases the imagination and heart that make our Minetto readers and artists so special. Thank you to all who participated and shared their Wild Robot-inspired creations. What an amazing way to bring reading to life. At the high school, we had a fantastic homecoming week at OHS. Students participated in the pep rally, the Buck Pride Parade, the Buck Bowl on Wednesday. Friday night, the Bucks brought home a win, and students enjoyed the homecoming dance on Saturday. It was a fun-filled spirit week with daily dress-up themes chosen by the students. On 10/17, we were honored to have Marianne Angelillo present to the student body about making good choices. She lost her son in a drunk driving crash in 2004. The message was well received by students, and we appreciated her story. Also, congratulations to Xavier Vasquez for receiving the letter of commendation from the National Merit Scholarship Program. This is awarded for his performance on the PSAT NMSQT exam. Also at the high school, on October 14th, students from our Paradox Yearbook and the WBUC TV program traveled to Syracuse University to participate in the ESPA conference. The day consisted of multiple sessions related to media, both print and video, with industry professionals and SU professors. The day was capped off with an award ceremony We are excited to announce that we took first place for Best Overall Yearbook. Congrats to all the students. This is a busy district. Congratulations to everyone. I just wanted to comment that it was really great to see at the Spirit Parade all of the schools, the elementary schools, obviously the high school and the middle school, and the spirit was really contagious. It's really great to see that grow. So thank you to the boosters for that.
Thank you, Julie. Now we move on to Board of Education. Item A on Board of Education is New York State School Music Association Zone 4 Area All-State Ensembles trip to Ilion, November 21st through 22nd. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Sean. And a second? Thank you, Jen. Discussion? Any discussion? Just like to say congratulations to all of those students and enjoy the trip. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? The motion carries 5-0. Item B, senior class trip, June 5th through 7th, to 2026. Can I get a motion for that, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Julie. And a second? Thank you, Sean. Any discussion? Anyone? No? I just like to say last year was quite a success, I believe, with the senior trip, and the participation was up, and hopefully it continues in that direction. So, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Again, motion carries 5-0. And item C, New York State School Board Association Policy Services. We spoke about this at the last meeting. Can I get a motion for that?
I'll move.
Thank you, Julie. And a second? Thank you, Jen. So any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries 5-0. We move on to D, Board of Education vacancy. As everyone can see, Kristen Norfleet has resigned in her position. And I'd like to say thank you to her for the 2 years that she put in and what she brought to the board and her contributions, and they are appreciated. And seeing the vacancy now, we have to discuss how we're going to fill that. So we have a couple of options. We have about 3 options to discuss. One is to let the seat sit empty and not do anything, let it sit there open. The other is to have a special election. Full special election, I believe, right? We'd have to call in everything for that, open all the 4 areas for voting. And then finally is that the board can appoint. And so that is the third option, is the board can appoint. So it's open to discussion as to ways we want to proceed with this.
This is fairly new to us. I mean, I think your communication went out last evening. And for us, and Tim not being here, I would say that we consider filling the position with appointment. I'd like to have us talk about or see what candidates might come forth to be interested in filling the position. And hopefully it'd be someone that could contribute to the work that we have to do the rest of the school year. And just so everybody knows, that when it goes to vote, like the first vote or the highest vote getter, May 15th is the vote?
It's
19th? So the highest vote getter would immediately fill this vacant position, accurate?
So yes, but it also depends on if there are incumbents. So if there are incumbents, it complicates things. So just real quick, first, special election. There are significant costs associated with that.
Yeah.
People wonder, right? We're talking probably $15,000 to $20,000 to hold a special election. By the time we canvass candidates, get in order ballots, actually be able to set up an election, we're talking about someone sitting for 3 to 4 months. Because Sean is correct, the rule is when there is a vacancy, it is a vacancy until the election. And so the highest vote getter would take that seat immediately.
Yeah, not July
unless
1st.
they were an incumbent, right? And then there's some nuances that we would have to, of course, walk through. But the process is that seat would be filled on May 20th when the board certifies the vote.
What's the time frame that for the board-appointed option? What is the timeframe? Do we decide we want to do that? Do we have a timeframe in which we have to do it by?
90 days, don't we?
So it's 90 days for a special election. If the seat is left open for more than 30 days, the district superintendent has the option to, and when I say district, I don't mean me. I mean the district superintendent of so the city BOCES superintendent has the option to appoint themselves. Typically, they follow and would follow what's the process that the board wishes to do. And small cities have slightly different rules than other school districts. Outside of small cities, I believe, is the only district or type of district that can actually leave the seat vacant. So the rules are slightly different depending on the type of school district we're talking about.
So essentially, we don't have to decide today or this week. We have at least 30 days.
Yeah, no, you absolutely right.
Okay.
It's not mandated that you don't have to do this today. You can take time to be thoughtful and think about it a little bit more. But that's up to the board.
Anyone else? No? So consensus would be that we will wait. I'm going to go off of Sean, or what do you?
Are we waiting to decide which of the three options, or are we waiting to decide, are we deciding that we're going to do a board appointment?
I would suggest that we do a board appointment. I don't know how everybody feels about that option.
I would agree.
I'm for the board appointment.
John?
I just hope that personal agendas don't cloud an overly qualified candidate.
Wait, say that again?
Just hope that personal agendas don't cloud an overly qualified candidate.
Is there also a way, Tom? I mean, there's a lot that comes with sitting on this board and how we need to be held to standards and things like this. Is there an opportunity for us to get that out to the public? I mean, also people coming forth that don't know. I mean, there's a big responsibility here and a code of conduct that we have to follow and what we're trying to do. I would. Is there a way for us to get that out there so that people know what they're signing up for, or what they're offering to do?
I think we could. I think we could do that. We could post an information packet, I think, on our website. We could get that on there. I mean, because you have two things. One, we're just covering this time period, right? This extension, this bridge. But it does take a lot of time and a lot of commitment. And again, you've heard me say it, but I think this is more general election pertinent, that being willing to stay on and for a longer period of time and having consistency and continuity is important. But yes, I think we can do that. And if you want me to do that, I will put something together and work with Ray, and we can get something posted on there. So anything else beyond that? Anyone? All right.
No.
So then we will wait until the next meeting. We will go for the appointment. We will wait until Tim is here at the next meeting. We'll have a discussion about the methodology that we will use for the appointment at that time. Is that what I'm
Understood,
hearing
yeah.
with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what we will do. Thank you very much. And now, Ray, it's time for the superintendent's report.
So I'm going to welcome Mr. Tom Zuber to come forward and just provide a brief summary. We just met with Tom and the audit committee just recently to go over our annual audit, independent audit. And so he's here just to quickly do a quick summary and then to answer any specific questions if the board has any. So Tom, off with you.
Great, thank you. And thank you for inviting me here tonight. Again, as the superintendent mentioned, I'm here to present the June 30th, 2025 basic financial statements, internal control communications, and of course, should have received all of those in your board packets. So again, as the superintendent indicated, we did meet with the audit committee back on October 8th. Again, I'm pleased to report there's no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. And we issued an unqualified opinion. So that's really what you're looking for in these financial statements. So again, that's the standard opinion. So again, we met with the audit committee. We had a very nice discussion. We talked about year-over-year variances. We talked about reserve funds. We talked about fund balances internal control, checks and balances. So we spent about 45 minutes going over the 65-page financial statement. So again, very good discussion. Again, the district continues to face different challenges. Certainly state aid uncertainty is a challenge, property tax cap, inflationary challenges, even challenges at the federal level as it relates to different federal decisions that are being made out there right now. So again, a lot of different challenges. The district continues to be in very good financial condition. When we look at the financial condition of the school district, we're really looking at the reserves, the long-term plans, things of that nature. And again, the district does a nice job relating to your reserve accounts. You have several different reserves. A couple of the key reserves, your ERS reserve, your TRS reserve, so those reserves to help support the pension systems. As you know, the state pension systems, they basically say, here's a rate, please pay it, right? So again, these reserves are there to help offset any spikes to those rates. So again, very nice reserves to have. You've got your capital reserves, again, very nice reserves as they relate to helping offset the local portion of a project. Really, the goal would be to reduce the local impact. Again, the voters vote to create those reserves, board funds them, then the voters vote to use them. So again, a little more restrictive. And you have a couple other flexible reserves out there that really are there to help support the different challenges that could be out there. So again, you're doing a nice job with the reserves. In fact, you utilized about $9 million of the capital reserve, so the voters have voted to authorize the use of those reserves towards your capital project. So again, you're doing a nice job there. And then at the end of the year, you were able to reallocate about $3 million back into those reserves. So again, you're looking at those reserves and you're looking at your long-term plans. You're really doing a nice job about that. Okay, so again, a couple of other things we did talk a little bit about, your revenue and expenses. You're doing a nice job on your revenue and expenses on about $116 million budget. You collect about $116 million on a $112 million budget, so a little over $4.2 million more than you had anticipated. Again, primarily from your strong interest earnings, and again, some of the reimbursements relating to the self-funded health insurance program that you have, okay? And if you recall, last year you had some challenges with those programs and you actually had to amend your budget up, right? This year, you did not have to do it. You spent about 97 or 99.3% of your budget, but you didn't have to amend your budget this year, which is very positive from the financial statement standpoint. So again, you're able to kind of monitor your budget and deal with some of those challenges relating to health insurance. But on the revenue side, that's where those dollars came from that you were able to reallocate into the reserves. Okay, so again, you're doing a nice job on the revenue side. The expense side, again, you spent about 99.7% of your budget, I'm sorry, from the current year. Again, and you didn't have to amend your budget. So again, that's very positive. A couple of the other items we talked about, federal stimulus monies, as you know, those are over. So again, they ended in the fall of 2024. So again, those dollars related to the COVID era, and again, those dollars are now completed. School lunch program, again, you're doing a nice job in the school lunch program. Again, as you know, the students receive free meals now, or have been receiving free meals now. And again, this year you are within the federal fund balance level. They went from 3-month average expenditures to 6-month average expenditures. So now you're within the cap, if you will, that the federals say they want to see in your school lunch program, so you're doing a nice job there. Again, I mentioned the health insurance program, and one of the areas we did talk a little bit about is the entity-wide financial statement, which is this corporate style financial statement. And within that statement, we do report about a $299 million deficit for the school district, okay? The deficit does relate to the retiree health obligation that you have relating to your self-funded health program, okay? And what happens is you have an actuarial that comes and calculates what you've committed to your employees when they retire, okay? And that commitment total is about $278 million, okay? So again, that's a point in time. It's a calculation based on the contract you have in place, not how you operate, okay? You operate on a pay-as-you-go. All right, so if you have $1 million obligation, you budget $1 million, you pay $1 million, okay? But this is a number that does show up in your financial statement, so it's just important to be aware of it and the impact on those corporate style financial statements. Again, not how you operate, but is a number you want to be aware of and understand, okay? So those were the key things. We also talked a little bit about the internal control communications. Again, no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. We did have 5 very minor procedural items that we talked about. And again, there were 2 items that we talked about last year that the district implemented corrective action on. So again, very positive from the financial statement standpoint. So again, spent about 45 minutes going over the financial statements with the audit committee. So again, just a brief high-level overview of some of the key items we talked about. Are there any questions on anything we talked about?
The only question I had is the number for the health insurance liabilities over time. Do we know how that's trending? I mean, would you know over?
Yeah, so that number does go up and down from one year to the next. Again, that number is based on a lot of different factors, so inflation plays a role in that number. Your contracts will play a role in that number, and it does go up and down based on inflationary factors. Last year, that number was relatively consistent and only went down about $700,000 from one year to the next. In 2024, it went up about $18 million, okay? So it does go up from one year to the next. Again, based on inflation, based on contracts, based on medical trend rates. Again, remember, this is a point in time where they're bringing it back to a present value, okay? But it's not how you operate, right? So you operate on a pay-as-you-go. So $1 million expense for retirees, you budget $1 million in the general fund, and you pay $1 million, okay? Yep. Any other questions?
Thank you, Tom.
All right. You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you, Tom. That brings us to our building level plans. We have 4 more principals here with us this evening. And I think we're actually starting off with KPS.
No mercy for the new guy, huh? Hopefully I can use the clicker. So thank you for having me here tonight. I'm actually really excited to present the goals that I collaborated with our guiding coalition on to align with the district priority areas of the strategic plan. So I just want to give you a brief overview of the lens that we took when we were creating our building level goals for this year at KPS. First, we looked at climate survey data, also our benchmark data in reading and math. And we also talked a lot about looking at creating these goals to not only align with the district strategic plan, but also looking at it through a professional learning community lens so that we could create goals that would also strengthen us in our professional learning community journey in that PLC process. So our school culture and climate goal, this was created based on the climate survey data. So based on the student climate survey, we will continue to strengthen students' sense of engagement and improve perceptions of safety in areas identified as needing growth with the goal of achieving favorable responses in all areas. I do want to point out that even though we scored high overall under student engagement, there's still areas for growth and improvement. So even though we see overall we were in the favorable range, when we dug into some of those questions, there were some areas where we were unfavorable, and even in the favorable range, it's not like we were at 100%. So we still looked at that as an opportunity for growth to ensure that all students are engaged. We also are focusing on the safety domain from the climate survey area because that was also an area where we pinpointed some specific ways that we can do better and grow. So I'm not going to read through all the strategies, but I do want to point out that we will create, the Guiding Coalition is going to create a mid-year student survey just to get a pulse on where we are at towards our goals so that if we do have to tweak any of our strategies, we'll be able to do that. And there's other things, I couldn't fit everything on here. There's things that are already in progress, like for example, our KPS club has taken our KPS expectations. be respectful, be safe, be responsible, be a problem solver. And they're doing their monthly assemblies now really focused on those building expectations, because we're really trying to create a culture of consistency where we're all speaking the same language to each other as we're modeling being safe, respectful, responsible, and problem solvers, but also when we're addressing students in terms of the choices that they're making, celebrating when they are showing those expectations in a positive way, and also using that language when we have to do those reteaching moments. So that's just one thing I wanted to celebrate that's already happening towards this goal. Our expected impact. Okay. So student success. This goal was based on, we looked at our benchmark data. And so our goal is to improve Tier 1 and Tier 2 instructional practices to increase student growth in literacy and math. This is important because we want high-quality core instruction, and targeted interventions are key to closing achievement gaps and ensuring equitable access to learning. Strengthening Tier 1 and Tier 2 practices builds consistency and effectiveness across classrooms. So Tier 1, for those of you who might not be familiar with that language, Tier 1 is that first teaching that happens in the classroom with every student. Tier 2 is what we do when students either have mastered it, they've reached proficiency, and they need to be challenged more, or we need to intervene and do some reteaching. And so those are areas that we really want to focus on with our grade level teams to build our capacity and ensuring that we're giving the best Tier 1 instruction using research-based, high impact strategies, and then also intervening at the appropriate time. And so you'll see that a lot of our strategies, I know you can't read that, but part of that is our SBIT, our school-based intervention team, continuing to improve on those data team processes, to streamline intervention, identification, selection, and progress monitoring, implement structured professional learning team time, so looking for ways that our grade level teams can meet more during the day to collaborate around those Tier 1 practices, so they can continue to grow and improve. Conducting walkthroughs and coaching cycles focused on providing feedback on those high-impact instructional strategies, so that we're always having those collaborative conversations, either with myself or teams having them with each other to, again, learn from each other and improve those Tier 1 practices. So our outcome indicators, I do want to share these because we know they're lofty, but we are committed to trying to get as close to this as we can, and we think you have to reach high. So 100% of students achieve typical growth, so that means that students are making progress at the expected rate on their grade level on the iReady diagnostic, that's for math, and 100% of students achieve average to above average growth on the M-class assessment, and that is the assessment we use for reading. We are hoping that this will ensure that we have stronger, more consistent Tier 1 instruction across grade levels, improved differentiation and targeted Tier 2 interventions, increased literacy and math growth for all students, and a collaborative data-informed culture focused on continuous improvement. Community connections, we went back to the climate survey to create this goal. Our goal is to enhance family engagement and communication by addressing parent need areas identified in the school climate survey, resulting in stronger and more consistent homeschool connections. Some of the ways that we are going to do that is having consistent expectations for teachers in terms of what they're going to be communicating home. So communicating through curriculum, the iReady, Second Step SEL, and CKLA family letters, both electronically and in print, so that we can make sure that all parents have access to those communications. We are also going to be updating our student parent handbook and sending that home. So that hasn't been updated in quite a while, so we are going to create a subcommittee within the Guiding Coalition to update the student parent handbook, and that will include our KPS expectations as well, so that both students and families have a clear understanding of what those expectations are. We are adding another after-school family event as well. It's going to be our first student-led cultural diversity event. So we've sent some communication out already to get families involved. And we're hoping to work with our teachers to spark some interest in students so that students will actually, with their families, present and lead some of those tables and showcase things that they're celebrating about their culture. And we are going to use parent square polls to collect feedback and adapt communication strategies based on family input. And lastly, operational systems. This is really aligned with, again, making sure we have a strong professional learning community. So faculty will develop a shared understanding of the school-based intervention team process, including its purpose, procedures, and their role in supporting student interventions. And this builds upon the goal from last year. Faculty and staff will fully utilize the KPS dashboard and provide recommendations to improve building level efficiencies. We're hoping that this offers a clear shared understanding of the SBIT process and ensures consistent support for students requiring intervention. Efficient use of the KPS dashboard enhances data accessibility, collaboration, and decision-making, and streamlined systems reduce redundancy, promote efficiency, and strengthen instructional support structures. So that was the reasoning behind this goal. We are going to develop a SBIT flowchart. So again, that's the school-based intervention team that will outline the steps and expectations for staff prior to referring a student for intervention. We will again survey faculty and staff to just get a pulse on are they using the dashboard? And we're going to ask them other questions too in terms of our building goals to also get feedback from them to see where we're at and maybe what we can do to, again, involve them more in the process and make sure they have a voice. Our outcome indicators will be staff are consistently prepared with data, goals, and intervention details when placing a student on SBIT, increased percentage of staff actively using the KPS dashboard, and qualitative feedback from staff that identifies improvements in communication, data tracking, and workflow efficiency. And that's all. Does anybody have any questions? No? Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. You're welcome. Thank you. It's my turn at it here. Just as Jen had explained, we are also utilizing our guiding coalition. We just met most recently to finalize our goals and what our building goals are going to be. And rather than read all of these and then repeat them, I'm going to, this is my title sheet, so to speak. I'm just going to go through them one by one. So school climate and culture. Based on our goal at Layton is based on our 24-25 attendance data. We're going to decrease the number of students that are chronically absent. Last year, we had 71 students that were chronically absent. That was an equivalent to 54 families. So we know that it's not just one student that's absent. It's typically what we're noticing is the multiple students and the families are absent. So some of our strategies that we're putting into place this year, we have a new partnership with SUNY Oswego. It's going to be student success mentoring program. Is supported through the Empire State Service Corps grant. We're working with a coordinator at SUNY Oswego. We're going to share with families attendance letters for those students who are already at the threshold of being 10% chronically absent by quarter. A weekly student attendance report to staff to promote good classroom attendance. And we have obviously revamped or rebranded. We've changed up how and kind of renamed, maybe changed the focus or goal of what some of our school committees and teams are in a more collaborative way to get more people in the building involved. And most recently, we had a staff professional development on emotional intelligence. So the intended outcome is to reduce the number of students that are chronically absent, increase more shared decision-making, increased opportunities for staff and student leadership, and an increased knowledge and focus on how to promote your own well-being for yourself and others. We separated our ELA and math goal for student success. For ELA, we're going to increase the number of students proficient in reading on grade level as measured by DIBELS, or oral reading fluency, nonsense words, and phoneme segmentation. And that was based on some data, some baseline data. So that's our starting point. We're going to ensure that all new staff have language essentials for teachers of reading and spelling, which is how we're teaching kids how to read. Increasing our building literacy coach support and cycles. there's a program called Morphine Magic that all grade 4 students are getting. And one of the things I wanted to spotlight at the bottom is we've modified our grade 5 and 6 Tier 2 support schedule. That decision was based on the number of students. Has historically, we're noticing a trend since we started to put a lot of these systems in place for Tier 2 and how we're catching kids up. That number in grades 5 and 6 has decreased significantly. So we know that the systems we put in place, we see that they're working. So we're seeing that the number of students has decreased. So we modified that schedule. Our plan is to monitor that this year to see if that's working, making sure that we don't go backwards and we don't have some regression. The outcome would be a decrease in the students categorized as needing Tier 2 and Tier 3 support, and increased student engagement as measured by student proficiency in DIBELS and iReady. Math goal is to, we noticed also based on some early benchmark data that our students significantly across grades K-6, there's a definite deficiency in numbers in base 10, and that is the foundational skills in terms of vertically when we think about how kids learn in math. That's one of the foundations. So some of the strategies that we're looking at is staff professional development provided by our district math coaches. We're teaching digital format, digital practice in iReady, so we're beginning with the end in mind. If we're expecting kids to perform digitally on an assessment, we're going to show them how to do that and be successful at it. We're focusing as a building on numbers in base 10. Our math coach support and training is, we're looking for more opportunities and more small group instruction at the Tier 1 level. We're expecting an increase in student proficiency across all grades, and we're monitoring that, and what we're expecting it to see the data improve on common assessments in our monthly data meetings. In community connections, where our goal is to enhance family engagement and experiences based on all the feedback that we're getting from our home and school and surveys that we sent out in our collaboration. Our plan is to modify and adjust dates for when we're holding and hosting family events monthly. We have an improved system of how we're going to track. We are a Title I school at Layton, so we typically anyway keep track of who's coming through our door at all of our events and functions. We were talking about a shared Google Meet option for home and school meetings to get more families involved. And the last one there is creating a document that shares with families a month ahead of time the events that are coming up so they can help prepare in terms of making decisions of things that will be attending. We're hoping that will increase the number of families. Typically, we run between 250 and a little over 300 people at our monthly events, so we're hoping to maintain that and maintain our partnerships. Our thinking is we hear you and here's how we're adjusting, and then also increase participation in decision-making in those monthly meetings so we get more people involved. Our last one's operational systems. Based on the climate survey data, we're creating a system for tracking data to ensure school safety, physical and emotional wellness, and our curriculum response to that. So we are increasing our communication, sharing our school-based health clinic options, so we're making sure that that information goes out more often. The counselors are working on explicit direct instruction of thematic social emotional learning, those lessons led by them. This year we've moved to our teachers delivering the first preliminary, the beginning pieces of Second Step, which is our curriculum, holding more restorative practices in circles, showing how modeling that in classrooms so teachers can do that as well. And each year we have a presenter come in and do an informational presentation for students in grades 5 and 6 on the Dignity for All Students Act. This year we've added 4th grade to that because we're noticing a trend that some of those things are starting a little bit sooner, so we're adding another grade. We're hoping our plan is that we're going to have an increase in number of students in medical, dental, and mental health enrollments, a decrease in the number of discipline referrals or crisis calls tracked monthly, and a decrease in the number of chronically absent students that we also track monthly. And we know, I think based on the last, to go back to our school-based health clinic, I believe we have 157 students out of 320 that are already enrolled in Connects Care. So we're moving in the right direction. That's it.
All right. The good news is you're going to hear a lot of things that are similar, which the good news in that is that we are working together and you'll see a lot of alignment using the surveys and using data that we have. The bad news is you're going to hear a lot of the similar things again. So we'll try to keep this as quick as we can. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. You're going to see a lot of the similar things as far as our goals. And so we'll kind of dive right in. When we talk about our school culture and climate, we really looked at using the survey data, but looking at our branding. And so when you walked into the middle school, there's a lot of new wings, there's a lot of new areas without a lot of signage, and there was a lot of inconsistencies with messages. So we spent a lot of time with the Guiding Coalition this summer to really look at what is it at the middle school, and we came up with Buck Pride. So you'll see a lot of branding. You'll see I have a little button. Buck Pride is what we stand for, and really focusing on being prepared, being respectful and responsible, making sure that you are dedicated to your learning, making sure that you show empathy and integrity. So all of those things mean something. And what does it look like in every area of our building? And so that we focus not only our academics around Buck Pride, but also our behavior. So we're trying to streamline a lot of those things. We're excited too that we were able to create a new schedule this year that really afforded opportunities for not only our teachers to meet more regularly, but also for our interventions to happen on a more consistent basis. So we do have a lot of our Tier 2 behavior academies starting to come to fruition, and how do we address behaviors differently in the middle school, and how do we work with those chronic behavior students to reduce our suspension numbers and offer alternatives to that. We also want to, of course, engagement. As we know, as kids get older, the engagement starts to fall off. So how do we keep our kids involved and keep them engaged by offering a lot of different opportunities for kids to get involved, not just in honors, but in different clubs and activities. So some of the different things, we have our PLTs, so you hear the professional learning communities and that we're working on it, but we have been able to start with our PLTs by department, so not just our grade level teams, but our department teams are having some time to get together and really dive deep into the data and what are we looking at and what are we missing and how can we improve our instructional practices. So it's a big focus this year. Obviously, we are, working on our team needs and our assessment data, reduction in our discipline referrals and suspensions, really looking at Tier 2 as to what is it, not only are we showing gaps in our data, so looking at benchmarking data, but what is the day-to-day data showing us? So what are those common assessments showing, and then how do we respond to those common assessments and things that students are missing? Looking at an increase in attendance activities. How do we communicate the attendance rates, but also how do we have students more involved in what does it mean if I just take a couple half days off, and what does that do to my attendance? So, I don't know what happened. We're good? Okay. I'm talking too much. Yeah, I'm going to hurry. Let's see if I can. Perfect. All right, well, we'll move to the next. Student success. So a couple of things, again, looking at this is ongoing progress monitoring, not only in academics, but as well as in behavior, and how do we increase those instructional practices to meet the needs of all learners in our classrooms, so that we can make sure that nobody on the high end or low end or even in the middle is falling off. And so really prioritizing our standards, making sure that we have common assessments, and that once we have those common assessments, that the teachers have time to really evaluate what that is and have time to respond. So the good news with our schedule is we do have a academic AIS time that is not removing students from special areas anymore. It is a designated time where students are working on progress monitoring, or they're getting help in whatever they need. We're really hoping that we can show an achievement and closing the gaps, not only in reading and math, but in all areas. So we're excited about that time. Really using that assessment data in all core classes, and also the dedicated progress monitoring to make informed decisions versus what we think. It's what we know and what we see, so we can make those adjustments. Increasing opportunities for our students to receive high school credits. We're really excited that all students should leave, fingers crossed, with foreign language credit, or world language rather, leaving the middle school, which is new this year. So all of our 7th graders are starting the world language program, will finish in 8th grade, and should receive their credit before moving to the high school. So we're really excited to offer that opportunity. Recognition, obviously, for attendance and academic growth. Really want to celebrate growth versus just achievement. as well as our Buck Pride is really focusing. We have a Buck Pride committee. They just met. They're really eager to get off the ground and really focusing on this is what our expectations are and what we're really focusing on. And let's celebrate students who are exemplifying that, not just the students that are excelling in other areas academically, but showing our behavior and our social emotional needs as well. So we're really working on, also we worked on technology night last year with the high school. We're working on that again to bring families in with their devices and how do we get them connected so that they can follow Google Classroom and Parent Square and also follow on school tools so that they know how kids are doing, as well as making sure we up our participation in our clubs and activities. Uh-oh, now I'm frozen. Okay. Our community connections, obviously we want our community more involved, and one of the ways is communication. So weekly communication is our goal, but also an increase when students come from the 5 elementary schools, there's ongoing communication from that classroom teacher, and then it kind of falls off. So how do we encourage and participate our teams to communicate at least monthly on what's happening in the classroom, celebrating what's good and what needs improvement? Utilizing our community resources and partnerships, we are working on a career fair this spring that all students would rotate, bringing in our community resources to present to our students to get them interested in what's there out there to offer, especially in our local community, and also have a component with families later that evening to bring our families in to talk about options and opportunities for our students. And providing updated information for students, staff, and parents in the community. So connections, how do we connect students and families to whatever supports they may need? So that is something that we're excited that we're working on. And operational systems, that again is that inviting our parents in more. Elementary school, we have a lot of parent volunteers. We have a lot of parents in the building, and it kind of stops. So how do we bring our community in and bring our families in to be more involved? How do we have our hub for our faculty and staff being our center focus, and how do we work on one for our students? Use of our Parent Square newsletters. Our behavior academies is something we're really focusing on too, is having structures in place beyond just the traditional chain of or rather code of conduct. What do we do for students that are chronically struggling, and what can we offer within the walls of the school to help support those students and their families? And that's pretty much where we're at. So we're excited, a lot of new things, a lot of new changes. I'm really excited this spring to hopefully come back and tell you all the great things that we're doing. So thank you.
You got me on this? I got. Maybe. Try it. Okay, there we go. Just like everybody else, this is the title slide and all of the goals listed, but I'm going to move into the other ones because they're highlighted there. So for school culture and climate, we worked together, took information from, again, the school climate survey. The focus for the high school, safety and engagement were really where we tried to focus a lot of our energy. So it's creating those collaborative opportunities in conjunction with the district initiative for PLCs. We were able to get some common planning time in our schedule, and we are currently using monthly feedback forms from our teams to find out what's working for them and what's not, because the PLC process is really about how they come together to refine their craft and really improve their skills, so they're giving their very best instructional practices, which then in turn will increase in our academic achievement for our students. So with that, we're looking for the improvement of practices from that feedback, and then the increase of academic achievement, not just in quarterly grades, but overall Regents exam passing rates and things like that. Next was to develop school-wide expectations that were visible, clearly communicated, and consistently enforced. And the consistently enforced is really important because that involves all of the staff, not just the administrative team. We've really had a great start to this. As you walk around the school, you will actually see our BUC's expectations in 4 specific areas: the cafeteria, the hallways, the classroom. They're all over the school, and we went over those on the first day. And because of the cell phone and internet-enabled ban, we actually met on Dr. Kilmer's recommendation on the very first day of school, and that is a practice we will have moving forward, because setting those expectations and meeting with every one of those students that first day and then going over one more time the second day, we had 2 different assemblies, and that seemed to be a really successful start for the high school. The whole team has been on board, all of the teachers, and that's been really important. So not only the beginning of the year assembly, we have the matrices posted, but we also, in conjunction with the middle school, you're going to notice a lot of commonalities. We're really trying to combine and make that transition easier from middle school to high school. So every student received a student planner that had the code of conduct in it, and that's the communication that goes to our families. So they can look over our rules and they can understand the expectations as well. And then that consistent enforcement by all has really proven to be essential for this to be successful. We're looking for the overall reduction of our disciplinary consequences and the offenses upon that data review from School Tool, which the administrative team and I are doing weekly, and we are sharing with our team leaders and our faculty monthly. We are also looking, again, based on the climate survey, the increase in student and staff engagement, just for an overall sense of pride in the school. I think that was evident, a great start with the Buck Parade and everything that happened with Spirit Week. There's been a revamp, there's been a change of our student council advisors, and the students are really driving that student council. I think they were part of that before, but it really is a student-led initiative. I've met with the principal's cabinet twice already. We are really working on some student-led and student-initiated activities for the students and really how to bring that morale up. We had some pep rally changes. The last pep rally we had, fantastic. We were outside, inside, tied everybody in together and really celebrated everything. We not only had athletics, but we also included the marching band. So just recognizing all students and what they can excel in. Assemblies from outside organizations, we've already had one, and our principal's cabinet is working along with our steering committee to find some outside speakers that can come in and that can really resonate with our students. The Kindness Day initiative they're looking to bring back, which is student-led activities. It's a whole activity day with social emotional learning and really just being positive and kind to each other. And then branding is something I talked about last year, and we are moving forward with our plans for branding. Our outcomes for that will be an increase in attendance and events, the schedule of presentations, our plans for branding and signage, and then the posting of all of our activities. For student success in the high school, we really are focusing on the multiple pathways to graduation under the portrait of a graduate. We have many options to do that. We have a focus, and we are afforded a full-time person who's focused on our career-based learning this year. We have a great relationship with SUNY Oswego, and our students are on campus and learning their half day. The independent arts assessment pathway is one pathway in which students can get to graduation. Work Keys is an exam that actually can substitute in for a Regents exam requirement, and we have had 100% success on all the students so far as we piloted it last year, so incorporating that into our graduation opportunities. The CDOS, or Career and Development Occupational Studies credential, is also a credential that students can get on top of their diploma, and it's about the skills that students can take on to a career. And then we are offering and moving forward with the seals of civic readiness and biliteracy, and we do have 2 committees that are working on that and making some headway there. We're offering some new courses next year to help support that as well. And so our outcome indicator there is the number of students that are successfully completing those requirements and graduating. We are also, in conjunction and piggybacking off of what Amy said with the middle school, really trying to acknowledge the growth in students. It's not just about your high academic achievers, but it's about growth. So we are going to be doing some recognition quarterly for exemplary attendance, if you have 2 or less absences a quarter. Our academic growth, any student that has a 65 or higher and shows a GPA growth of 5 points per quarter will be recognized. Our character education traits is our buck of the month, and then we're also going to be doing some recognition on community service as well. We are looking to expand course offerings. We had multiple course offerings proposals that came up. We also have opportunities through the CTE program at City BOCES and their alternative programs, our career-based learning, and then the electives that we are offering at Oswego High School. So our strategies is just to promote that career-based learning and have exposure to all of the opportunities that our students have choice on what it is they'd like to do in their future. We want to make sure we're supporting that, and you'll see those as we update our course guide. For community connections, we really are focusing on the student-led and student voice, and that's really our focus this year at Oswego High School. So providing platforms, we have the principal's cabinet, the student council has expanded, and they're opening opportunity for anyone to become part of it. It's not limited by homeroom or not limited by what activities you're in, but it really is providing opportunity for all students to be a voice. So there's a core group, and then there's going to be open kind of town halls. And then we're actually going to be hosting some quarterly town halls with students where we're just going to open up the room and just talk and find out what their feedback is. We want a platform for every voice to be heard. We're going to continue utilizing the community resources and partnerships. Our steering committee is going to be focusing on our career-based learning and the career center development ideas as we move forward. We also are going to be working with the Homeschool Association in the other schools, in particular at Minetto, someone has stepped forward, and at the middle school, to help us create our own HSA here at the high school. So our goal is to pilot for the remainder of the year tentatively, and then with full implementation next year, so that we would have a full homeschool association by next year. And then updating our school website. Our school website needs a lot of work at the high school. I'll put that right out there. So we are working with Port City Connection. Oh, I'm sorry, the Port City Connection is supposed to go up. Port City Connections and Prevention Coalition are also community supports for us. But we need to provide more information for our students, staff, parents, community. Our website should be a one-stop shop, and we really need to get more content into there. So we'll be updating that as well. It leads into our operational, it's been a long day, systems. We're trying to just create a centralized location for essential information. So we created over the summer the OHS dashboard for faculty and staff. Basically, any link they need to anything, whether it be bell schedule or what's coming up, everything, anything and everything, locker assignments. Everything is in the faculty and staff dashboard, and if you open that Google link up at any given point in time, it is full of people grabbing information, and a lot of people saying, hey, do you know we could add this in? And based on the faculty and staff feedback, it is quite full. Our goal is to create one for our students so they have a one-stop shop as well, and then also to create one that goes on our website for our families, so if they're just not sure where to go, they're able to do that. So those dashboards would have active links that anyone could click on and get the information they're looking for, and it's actively posted on the school website, and we would communicate all of that through Parent Square so that parents would know that it's available to them, and we also would present that on the tech night that we do in conjunction with the middle school. Any questions? Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And is that our last presenter? Thank you, everybody. We appreciate all the presentations. I really do. Thank you very much. So now we go and move on to committee discussions, and I think the only committee discussion we have is facilities. Sean?
Yep. I do have some, in our last meeting, we went over some renderings. I've mentioned in the past that we certainly have a lot going on relative to capital improvement projects. So just a couple updates. The little last bit of Phase 4A, which was the $63.1 million capital project. We have some fence work that's going up at the middle school with our neighbors and around the tennis court, basketball court, and pickleball courts. So that's ongoing, and hopefully we're wrapping that up here in the fall. The Phase 4B, which is going to transform Buck Boulevard and surrounding areas next summer. That's been advertised a couple weeks ago on October 7th. A reminder on that one, that's the redevelopment of Buck Boulevard, parking lots around the high school, education center, and Layton. So that's where that whole project, and that's the basketball courts and the pickleball courts and everything along Buck Boulevard. So all that work, along with work for the 2024 capital improvement project on the backside of the high school with the technology wing and that parking lot, that whole corridor down there. There's a lot of communication that needs to happen with so much going on starting as soon as we can in the spring. So it's exciting. I'll leave the renderings for some of the work that's going to be done at both high school gymnasiums and the technology suite and our library. So we have some renderings, and when you see pictures, when you talk about the dollar amount, they're big dollar amounts. When you start to see the change in the environment that our students are going to experience and feel, it gets pretty exciting. So we certainly thank all the work that Ray and the building administrators put into, the needs all the way down to, tile and color and everything like this. There's a lot that goes into these capital improvement projects, but I think our school community and our Oswego community, going into fall next year, they're going to see some drastic changes right here in this campus with Layton and the high school. So very exciting. Some of the 2024 project has started with the not so, people might not be interested in boilers and, the bones of the work that we're doing, but that has started. Generators and boilers, they've been, some of that work's been started, so that's good news too. So I just wanted to give everybody an update. I've been talking about it probably for 3 board meetings now, but I'd really like to show it and get the slides together for Matt to put up there so that we can show some visuals on what's going to be done with these projects. So, excuse me.
All right, so now we're moving on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items A through H. Are you okay? Items A through H, if I can get a motion, please. Okay, thank you, Julie. In a second? You do it because...
Sean can't.
Are you okay? Sorry. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So now we move on to personnel. And personnel, can we have items A through I? Can I get a motion for items A through I on personnel?
I'll move.
Thank you, Julie. Can I get a second? Thank you, Sean. Any discussion? I just wanted to say there are 2 retirements in there that I think are very important and noteworthy. They are one woman who is a teaching assistant who's been with us for 24 years, I believe. And the other one is a food service worker who's been with us. I believe she's either the longest or second longest serving employee in the district, and she's retiring. If you don't know her, her name is Teresa Donovan, and she's over at the high school, and she's a lovely, lovely lady. And both of them have been here for a long period of time, and I just wanted to recognize them for that. So that being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. J, extra compensatory position recommendations, athletics, co-curricular and extracurricular programs for 2025 school year. Can I get a motion, please? Can I get a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you, Julie. And a second? Second. Any discussion? Or excuse me, it's personnel, so we can't have discussion, not my fault. My bad. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries 4-0. And can I have items K and L? Can I get a motion for K and L?
I'll move it.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please? Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Sean and Sean. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Now on to finance. And finance, if I can do items A through C. Items A through C, if I can get a motion.
I'll move.
Thank you. Second, please. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Julian. This is getting repetitive, Sean. Julia,
Got
Sean.
you.
You don't have much to choose from.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. And can I get item D, donations from donors choose? Can I get a motion for that?
I'll move.
Thank you. And a second? Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Sean. And again, discussion, I always just like to note and thank all the donors who contribute on the outside to the district. And finally, E, Legends Intermunicipal Agreement, final, 10/14/25. If I can get a motion for that.
I'll move it.
Thank you, Sean. In a second? Thank you, Sean. Any discussion?
I just want to say that this is a good agreement as a softball dad and not getting the fields on campus that we were gonna have originally, this is the best scenario for our baseball and softball teams.
Yeah, if I could follow up on that, I really appreciate the work that Ray and Pete put in with the Oswego County representatives, and that we came to this agreement. When we look at, our long-range planning and the money that's available in facilities, and we're already starting to talk about, what the needs are in the buildings for the 2026 referendum. I mean, we have so much catching up to do. We have catching up to do in our learning, spaces, which are where our staff, our teachers, and our students, where they reside. Extracurricular is very important, but when we can leverage a facility that everybody in our county and comes to our county is jealous of, when we can do that and prioritize the spaces like the media center or these other things that we're going to do at the buildings, it's huge. So that's the big impact when you talk about our long-range planning, building condition survey, tying it all together, and unbelievable. And that they're broke ground to accommodate the field dimensions that are needed for our high school baseball team this fall, that they moved on that quick so that we can play in the spring. That's community working together. So I know Tim Stahl, Brian Chetney were involved, and I very much appreciate their work.
I think our commitment to those fields will prove to the county that they can put more money into making them even better than they are now. I mean, they're fantastic right now, but there could be more in the next 5 years and possibly longer with us making that commitment. And I know there might be another district that might commit, and it just proves to them that this is a good fit going forward.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank everybody who was involved working with them, and it's a great illustration of partnership within the community and working together, and I think it is a win-win all the way around, so thank you very much. Can, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And now, Leah, it's student representative.
Hello. So this week the Spirit Week we had 2 weeks ago, and it was a great success. It was the most participation I've seen school-wide since I've been here, which was really great. The football team won. Seniors won Powder Puff. Go Seniors.
Oh, I didn't know if you were talking about what football team. I thought that was your football team, Leah. I thought that's who you're talking about.
And then the marching band trip, we went to Ohio, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. So thank you to the board for approving that trip a while ago. We had a great time. We got second place. We won best visual, best music, and then superior ratings all around, which was really awesome. Last Friday, we had a guest speaker, Mrs. Angelillo. Her story was Sharing My Stones, and she talked about her experience with her son's death and her journey through loss and love. And it was mostly about, of course, making smart decisions when driving, and honestly how every little thing you do can affect everything around you. And it was a really inspirational speech, and I liked hearing it. So, some upcoming events are the boys and girls varsity soccer teams have their sectional games tonight in Central Square, I believe. So good luck to them. And then the marching band has our championships this weekend. So hopefully we do good. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Leah. And now, items from the board. Any? Oh, Julie?
First of all, I wanted to update that the girls are tied 0-0 at halftime. Just letting you know. Also, I wanted to say I absolutely love your reports, Leah. I just wanted to give you a shout out because I get a little teary when I hear you read. I'm not to be weird or anything, but I just get a little teary. It's pretty cool. You are so passionate, and I love hearing it. I also wanted to just say that I'd been to a lot of athletic events this fall, more so than normal, and I think what you said really hit me because I think that school spirit is at an all-time high with faculty and students, so it's pretty awesome. But with that, I also noticed the student sections growing by leaps and bounds, where I used to see it was very scarce over there in the student section. Now it's really crowded. and it's really loud, which leads me to ask, and I know that Cindy's joining us next month, our athletic director, to talk about athletics, and I was just hoping that maybe I could have some feedback about what measures are in place to kind of combat extra rowdy students, maybe that are not acting the way we would want them to be acting, or on the flip side to that, how are we accommodating students when they just get excited in the student section? So kind of both sides to that, because I think that that's a very gray area. I've seen on multiple occasions students be escorted out in entire sections. The entire section was escorted out at a recent game. Now, I can't even speak to why, to be honest, because I was not in the student section. But I'd love to hear some of that feedback. Thank you.
If I could just compound on that. Leah, yeah, I do love hearing your reports too. But yeah, I think some clarification on that, because I've had several community members come to me, and I think with just some communication out there on how we define the expectations. I know we have the code of conduct. I think it gets confusing because, you know, we have a certain standard that we're holding our student section to, and we want them to hold them to a high standard. And then it gets confusing when we go to other, you know, when we play away, because their AD, their administration doesn't hold them the same standards. And so our student athletes have to play under an away environment. So I think our student section wants to provide that away environment here for our competing teams. And I think we're limited. We get pushed down a little bit where we can't do that. So, you know, it's not fair. Everything's not fair. But I think if we can get some explanation, a lot of community members, adults and students would better understand, you know, the expectations, and that we can still be very loud. We should let a home environment be created here. We should. So, thank you.
Anything else? I just want to say, Leah, I enjoy your thing just as well. But I wanted to say, Dr. Kilmer and I mentioned the other day potentially moving your report up early where it should shine a light on it earlier in the agenda. So be prepared if we move you up. Yes, shouldn't be last, should be first. Yeah, exactly. And I would be remiss if I didn't just note that a great leader within the district who passed away just recently, Ed Lisk. Ed Lisk was a great man within the community. He was a great educator. He was responsible for growing, particularly the marching band, but the music programs in this high school and through the district. And he had a huge impact on an awful lot of people. His accolades are too innumerable, too many to speak about. He was just a great man, and he had set a very high standard. And I just wanted to give a shout out to him, to his family, because he did so much. And he was integral, I was going to say instrumental, but that would be bad. He was integral in the Faust Theater and in creating that there. So he was a wonderful man. I just wanted to give a nod to him. So do we have any need for an executive session? We do not have a need. Seeing that, can I get a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Julie. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. We have a bunch of people that need to get to games. I know that. They're going to fly out of here.